Welcome. Look who's back. Huh? Share this out. It's going to be a good live tonight. We're going to cover a lot of shit. 2 hour special extravaganza on the stuff that's important. Because I'm not here, for my own fucking health. I'll tell you that much. 300-page affidavit I got served, and a lot of it is my Facebook posts and my personality. This is why I can't. I'm having a hard time being a dad right now. But let it be known, this dad gives a shit, and he ain't giving up. They haven't told me yet that I have to stop, so I ain't stopping. At least nobody's gonna be able to tell my kid one day or convince him that I didn't give a shit. The best they could do is try to say I'm crazy, but aren't we all? Huh? Aren't we all? So yeah, I got a big target on the back because I, say the things, and my track record is fucking amazing. Come on, you guys have to admit, the ones that stuck with me, and fucking bang on. And tonight I got a guest, Kellyanne Wolfe, and I brought her on because she's on the target again. Say what you will about the lady, but I'm gonna get to my little intro here first. First, I'm gonna beg, go on trial, 9 years, over 3 since I spoke to my son. I learned about a bunch of things about him lately that I didn't know. I wouldn't have known if I wasn't keeping pushing in court. They really like to make it seem like I've given up while I'm knocking on the door. And all the support you can give me, I'd appreciate. I'm not just looking for money; I'm looking for prayers too, because I've quit smoking. I've done my part. I've gotten right with God. I'm trying to swear a lot less. I hope you guys notice tonight. I'm gonna try and not try. I am okay. I got to cut down the cursing because I really feel that time. There was a time to curse and be upset, and now I'm still upset a bit, but I gotta ease off because I got like my own personal stuff. So the attacks online, okay, holy cow! And I want to get this out of the way here. So I made a video, a rebuttal to Chris Barber's, and Kellyanne's gonna be on tonight, and she's gonna help me talk about this too. But I took the video down. A lot of people saw it. It needed to be said. I don't regret saying it. I Here's my issue. I got respect for Chris Barber. Whether people, a lot of people don't, I do. Okay, and I had, and I was upset because I wish he would see that he's going to court and fighting for his right to protest peacefully. And I don't think you should be in that position. You should not be criticizing others who are doing that or thinking that they should suffer punishment because you suffered punishment. It doesn't sit well, And as a friend, that's what I do. And he's from Saskatchewan. This is how Saskatchewan guys are. You got to hurt each other's feelings to fucking get each other's attention. And the thing is, at the end of the day, whether I agree or don't agree with Chris on his positions or what he thinks is right, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have made that combo wouldn't have been successful. And nobody can take that away from him, not me or anybody. So I just let it be known I recognize that, okay? And I do consider my brother, and I gave him a lot of jabs, and I was mean too, But like I said, this is Saskatchewan, and I'm trying to look out for his kids too, because like we're all headed straight for a war. He's got very, healthy, uh, bound for success as 2 young kids. I would hate to see them shoved into a war, and just because of the politicians falling for the politicians' lies again. So, anyways, I wanted to get that off my chest. I'm glad I did. I also want to get this out. People's Proclamation. Please get some signatures on it, man. This is the peaceful way to do it. I'm certain of it. Please go check it out. If you have issues with it, let us know, and we'll make maybe amendments to it. It's 2 short lines. It's not even long. Basically saying you're going to stand for human rights over whatever bullshit rights you think your fucking government gives you, or corporation gives you. Please share it out. Try to get signatures on it. It's the best we can do at this point. We're going to regret not. And that was the reason I was upset with Chris Barber, is that when the war hits in our backyard, you're going to regret not getting involved with those anti-war protesters. And I flashed this picture on the way in because, like, this is how fucked we are. I've been saying this for years, and for those who've been, staying with me, I appreciate you guys. You guys know it. You guys know I've been on this, right? Look at what happened when Putin heard that Canada wants to give their firearms, our 22s basically, are small. They call them assault weapons, but it's bullshit. The ones they confiscated but haven't confiscated yet. This is all theater, you guys. It really is. But look at the look on Putin's face.
Поэтому, конечно, нам ни в коем случае нельзя останавливаться и по свинине. Нам нужно наращивать объемы. И, понятно, на Дальнем Востоке, вы знаете, комплексы строятся серьезные. Какая разница?
Fucking face palm, hey? Like, they know that we're fucked. They've had a war economy for over 2 years. They've been planning for World War III for many years. World War III is going to be a war of attrition, and China and Russia are set up. They've been setting up for that for ages. We're not. We've been talking about putting tampons in the men's bathroom. We've just been fucking ourselves, man. And it's them. That Russian mafia is in our fucking country right now. They've infiltrated. Talking about these foreign influence, Russia and China. They're already fucking here. We're going to be the stepping stone. And I've been, I just realized lately, I've been worried that they're going to send us to Europe to fight, but I think we're going to send us to fight Americans. Because they're going to hop, fucking skip and a jump and be here fucking like in no time before we even realize it. And then I think they're going to corral us to go south because that's the big target. Anyways, we'll get into it. We'll get into it tonight. We'll see what we can come up with here. But like, thank God that we got people like, what's this Tim guy that everyone was in love with, and I said that he was probably all these pedophile chasers. They're usually pedophiles themselves. Tim Burns.
Timmy, your name's fixing to get ready to come back out, allegedly. To me, it wasn't a real shocker when Glenn Beck started distancing himself from Tim Ballard. And lo and behold, I'm over on X and Ariel was talking about him again. Yeah. Does everybody remember this video when Kash Patel was talking about working so closely with Tim Ballard and that they together eradicated 50% of all human trafficking? I bet he's about to regret that. He's not already regretting it now. Here's what Ariel had to say. Kash Patel should have kept that to himself. Tim Ballard is the kiss of unaliving. And now he admitted that T. Ballard worked under him. And here we have Rolling Stone. Anti-trafficking activist Tim Ballard hit with human trafficking allegations in federal lawsuit. And this is from Megan Walsh.
Rolling Stone even turned on him. Hey, I fucking told you. Didn't I call it? I'm saying. I can tell. I can sniff these guys out. I'll tell you who you can trust. And these guys who are like chasing down pedophiles, they're probably like most likely. That's where they hide, you guys. Like it's topsy-turvy world. What's up is down. What's down is up. The criminals hide in police uniforms now. This is what you got to understand. But maybe we can go to that crystal ball. Hey, in Vegas, they got that new crystal ball, right? That'll tell them.
Explore your future. Explore your future. Explore your future.
Explore your future, you don't say. Must be talking about the Revelation chapter 13 future, where the false prophet performs great signs and wonders, where he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Fire coming down from heaven. Now, this is not the only symbolism that this sphere in Las Vegas has pushed. I'm not sure if you guys remember about a year ago where the sphere was putting up a lot of weird things. As we see right here, everything you know is wrong. It then goes on to flash some troubling words. So right after everything you know is wrong, we are then flashed with this, which makes me think of Revelation chapter 17, the harlot who sits on many waters, and the woman who is sitting on the scarlet beast. Now it then goes on to flash chaos, and after chaos it flashes death. And after death, we have if you know, you know. And after if you know, you know, we have war. And after war, we have social media is the Antichrist.
It's the Antichrist, eh? Son of a bitch. I kind of do want to hang my hat up for a bit. I don't know. I'm going to take it slow and steady. I don't know what's going on. It's like walking through a fucking minefield right now. I really don't know what's going on. I only want to bring quality unless I got a really good message and really good guests. I think that's going to be the kicker. And if I have time, because I'm getting attacked. Lots of good people are getting attacked. Michael, he had his trial recently. A lot of our good freedom fighters are in court right now. They need prayers, and donations if you can. So screw that. Can you use any like negative words? Is it all swears? I'm still trying to figure this out. Anyways, no dome in Vegas, okay? Screw the dome in Vegas. Screw sounds like a curse too. Like frick, I gotta go Randy from Trailer Park Boys now. AI will help us.
This
Thank
report's
you,
about
AI.
AI, and mostly the people who search in AI for information. But here's what they're not telling you. So there's only really three major companies that give you information. One is Comcast, and their institutional investors are this guy and this guy. But hold on. And then you have Disney, which is another major information dealer. And look who their institutional investors are. Hold on. And last but not least, you have Warner Brothers Discovery, and their institutional investors are. So you see, when you get AI to help you try to make decisions, Vanguard, State Street, and BlackRock are the people that are feeding you the information that they want you to know. You see, there's no more research anymore. There's just information that you either know or don't know, thanks to these three companies. There you have it.
You only know what the fuck they tell you, okay? And that AI, not only they're picking targets in the Middle East to indiscriminately kill people, the computer makes the decision. You know that CEO that got shot in New York? That's what that company was doing. They had an AI who was just automatically canceling or denying insurance claims. They don't even have people do it no more. They just got this AI system. Like, this is our new god now, not mine. And we're probably gonna die fighting it the way Revelation sounds, but we're gonna get into that with Kelly right away. But look, oh joy, don't worry about AI, because this Christmas is gonna be a special Christmas, a special pagan holiday, which is a whole nother fucking level. I don't know if I want to get into, but I started on my Facebook page. Jeremiah, yeah, we're getting into Jeremiah tonight. Cutting down trees in the forest and how much that pissed off God. We got really mad at Jews, broke the covenant with the Jews. Jeremiah said. So we'll get in that later too. Getting a tree and decorating it with tinsel and gold and silver, and then putting a light bearer on the top. You guys, man, we've been deceived, just like the Bible said. Okay, and now we're gonna realize who the real Christians are, the ones that actually read the book for themselves and discerned for themselves and didn't listen to the guy in the robe in the front of the church. But anyways, talking about the guy in the robe, let's see what's going to happen on this Christmas in the Vatican.
You got to ask yourself, why would the Pope put a live streaming camera inside of the tomb of Lucifer on Christmas Day? Well, that's next on the trumpet. The Masons and the Pope are going to open the holy door. First, the Pope is going to tap on it with a little silver hammer, and then the Masons are going to remove the bricks and mortar that actually seal the holy door shut. He does his knocking, and then the Masons start chanting one of the Psalms. It's never been done before, and they're going to start this new tradition on Christmas Eve. So the World Wide Web will have symbolic access to St. Peter's tomb on Christmas Eve as they open the holy door. And that's going to mark the beginning of the Jubilee year. The Catholic Church got the whole Jubilee idea from Judaism. And in Leviticus 25, it tells you all about the special year that's focused on restoration and forgiveness. The word Jubilee in Hebrew means Yovel, which is a ram's horn. And yes, that is a trumpet. In Leviticus right here, it tells you that the sound of the trumpet announced the beginning of the Jubilee year. So you might say, it's the year of the trumpets. And keeping things in order with the book of Revelation, we'll go through the seals, then the trumpets, and then the bowls. Open the door, it's the year of the trumpets. For Christians, Jesus' declaration in the book of Luke to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor was often interpreted as a fulfillment of the Jubilee spirit. Wow, I just can't wait for Christmas to get my webcam view of the creepy crypt that's underneath St. Peter's Basilica. And that's not a wax museum down there. And as of December 5th, the Vatican hasn't even released a Christmas message. You know, when you're the 33rd degree, you wear 33 buttons on your gown. King David ruled Jerusalem for 33 years, and the Masons built him a palace on top of Mount Zion, the mountain of God, where he issued judgment over the people. A webcam in a tomb under the altar of a church of the dragon. That dragon right there. That dragon. It's a flying dragon. This is right over the entrance of the door. Those dudes were all about it. 2024. You're the dragon. You can see the dragon in the crest. He wears a tiara, and the swarm comes out of his mouth. This throne, made for somebody about 20 foot tall, sits right in front of that tomb's opening. That throne is right there, and you can see how tiny all these people are in comparison to it. That's the altar that you just saw in that video, and then that's where that dragon seal was right there, and then this is the red wall that's underground inside that crypt. The red wall, which is by the shrine of St. Peter's, next to the tomb of Lucifer. That's where the webcam's going to be, right there.
This Christmas, hey, you see that big fucking throne? You know what the rumors are? You know what I heard it is? Gilgamesh. He got his DNA from Iraq. Iraq was all about that and not the oil. It was actually about getting into Gilgamesh's tomb. So they get his DNA and they cloned him. And this is just to pop out like a fucking magic show on Christmas, man. I'm not making this shit up, man. Oh, get your popcorn. Okay. Without further ado, this lady's been waiting 19 minutes. I told her to wait 15. Another one, has a lot of enemies, but, the good ones have a lot of enemies. And she's always been there. I first met her in Edmonton at the teepees, and that was the first stand against COVID before Convoy. And she was there. She's always there when we need her, like a freaking superhero. And yeah, a lot of people don't like her. We don't agree on everything either. But the tenacity of this fucking woman, she's always there. She's always fucking chomping down, and doesn't take shit from nobody. She doesn't take shit from me. She has, but she just water off a duck's back. I'm honored to work with her. We don't need to agree with everybody, but we do need to find ways to work together, and she's doing a good job. I'll play a little video and bring in Kellyanne Wolfe.
So I got one more video to make because I'm still getting these messages. I'm not gonna say your name because I'm not that much of an asshole, but I am an asshole. So and I've got to be, because for some reason there are a lot of men across this country that don't have the capacity to look outside of some little fucking box, that traps them all the time, and then they end up confused and supporting, the things that they absolutely would not otherwise. So for everybody out there who tells me I crossed a line, what line exactly? Because this government cannot dictate to me what I do. So if you think that you can, think again. If you think I give a damn, I don't. My principles are clear, and they don't waver, and they don't bend for your preferences. So you can take that line and you can shove it up your fucking ass, because I don't give a damn if you follow me, support me, or don't. I clearly will stand on my own. No problem. So, and if that hurts your feelings, find a fucking nipple.
Don't hurt my feelings. Welcome, Kelly.
Oh, wow. Wow. Listen, I've been in this shit for 25 years. I'm not in this for attention. The only people that'll say that kind of bullshit are the people that turn out to be in this for attention. I didn't lose my entire life here in Canada, my home on the infamous Mississauga Road, put my kids through all this punishment because I want your attention. I really don't give a damn. What I care about is that everybody needs to care about the fact that every devastation that exists, every issue, doesn't matter what it is imposed upon us by the people that you think you're electing. And only through your participation in their game is the reason why
you get devastated in the first place. You know, so, and I'm adamant about that. And you know, my principles are clear. I stand for life, period. For life.
Well, even like with Chris Barber's the same. Like even your critics have a line of respect and admiration, and you know it may, a lot of times it is jealousy, but they can realize that there is some qualities. Like for you, to me, it's tenacity. You don't give up. You're always fucking there, and you're always in the face, and you're always near the forefront. And if you're wrong, it seems that you're able to admit you're wrong. I've seen it, you know,
Totally.
and
Totally.
keep fucking rolling with the punches. So, you know, that's why I'm happy to have you back. Some people thought that we beat you up last time we had you on the show, and we did give you a little bit of licking, but this is why I have respect for you, because you have no problem coming back and sticking your face in there again.
No, I don't care. Hey, man, listen, you're allowed to disagree. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so am I. And that's the difference right there. You're allowed to disagree and have your own positions. And guess what? So am I. Right. And this is the biggest problem is most people, you know, it's my way or the highway or my tribe, my vibe. What, like, no, that's wrong. That, and it's completely contradictory to the principles of freedom, which are, and let me just define it for everyone out there, because a lot of people seem to be confused. Freedom is stemmed from individual liberty. We are not the same. We have different hopes, different dreams, different opinions, different positions. And that is why privacy is important. You know what I mean? We have governments around the entire world that are trying to uniform everybody with inclusivity.
Have you seen BidensLaptop.com?
No.
BidensLaptop.com? No? Yeah, it's not very private. It's amazing. That guy got pardoned. Amazing.
Oh, that's another thing. Like, you get fired for your individual stance or position on stuff. That's fucking absurd. You know, and I know you're refraining from swearing, but I just can't help myself. So too bad.
Whatever. You do you. You know, what I've learned recently is that I need to step back, and it's not my responsibility to help people. I present the best I can, and I feel I do my job, and I got to walk away. I can't force feed shit onto anybody. You know, I just got to do my job and lead as an example, as I see you do the same. You know, like as Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see. Like we wish to see everybody do this, and then we would be okay. You know, so
let me say it this way. Like in the beginning
of
the movement, right? And I explained this to you the other day when we were talking. You know, in the beginning of the movement, I didn't know where we were going to head with everything. All I knew is that we had the truth, that the government was lying to the entire country, and that they premeditated an act of domestic terrorism on our country that resulted in economic devastation and the slaughter of our own people nationwide. Doesn't matter what your culture, creed, or race is, people are dying, and they're dying in droves, you know, and people's children, more importantly, you know, to each their own, do whatever you want as a grown adult, but these kids don't even have a hope in hell when they're forced to comply with these things. So within the first month, when we went in just 4 weeks back in 2020, from like 250 people up to 2,500, you know what I mean? Immediately. And that's a lot to do with, and I gotta thank them. Lamont Daigle, Chris Sky, you know what I mean? Vlad Sobolev, like we were all so solid to each other. And so
another one, so many people hate Chris Sky and shit on him, but that do not comply campaign was freaking genius, and that's exactly what we needed. That was the exact force that was needed at that time, and he applied it. And it was, say what you want about the guy, and there's things I
wouldn't even be in the movement if it wasn't for him attracting them.
And say, you know, there's probably, he's fucked up lots in his life, and you can compare with what you want, but you can never take that away from him.
Who's an angel out there? Who?
Yeah, nobody. Yeah,
nobody. So you know what I mean? You should reflect upon yourself before you go judging other people.
And the more mean we are towards these people who have sacrificed for us, because Chris Barber did too, and his family has. And the more, this is why I was upset, because the more mean we are towards those people, the more they're inclined to be fuck. Nobody cared what I did anyways, right? And that's not what we should do to people who sacrifice for us, right? So, you know, I overstepped my bound there, and I wish I would have been kinder. It was just, it was a culmination for me. It was upsetting. I've stayed off the internet for the most part because I'm trying to focus on my own shit. But that one,
you know, with Chris, I don't think he knows enough about politics, to be honest. You know, but I know his heart is in the right place. I don't know him very well personally. We've interacted a couple of times. You know what I mean? But the man is a gem in my eyes. Look what he did for this country. You know what I mean? Look what he did for this country. And that's enough for me to back him up, even though I don't really know him, right? But I agree. I saw the videos, and Chris Barber, if you end up watching this, darling, you need to realize something. It is the government, it is the states of people to blame, and it is never the people of states, ever. No matter, and I'm telling you this not as an opinion, but out of an educated, expert, experienced person in human and civil rights for my entire life.
They've brainwashed him and convinced him that it's George Soros funded Antifa and like all this shit. And I'm thinking back to Convoy, and they would it was not the same names, but it was the same thing, that we were paid protesters. Well, what was the give, send, go about? Weren't we working class people that were getting paid to sit there and protest? Just like anybody, if I went to those Palestinian protesters and I ID'd them, I guarantee they have a Canadian driver's license, a fucking Canadian job.
They're all Canadian, guys.
And maybe somebody there brought them coffee. Okay.
But you know what? Let's address this. Let's address this and break it down, because there's hopefully there's a lot of people. And if you're out there, guys, watching this, then do us a solid and share this video, because I'm going to break something down, and it is honestly the truth. They are all Canadian. Every one of those Palestinian protesters out there are Canadian Palestinian. The government has infused a narrative upon you, just like they did with the Nazi flags during the convoy. Okay, just like they did. Remember when the railroads were shut down? Trudeau hired two busloads of actors from the United States that looked like they could be Native to come up here and mess with our railways in order to get the support of Canadian Natives to paint them in a certain light and to divide further our population. They are absolutely that ruthless. Make no fucking mistake. Okay, and I would challenge every one of you out there, because the truth is this: there is generational racism, and it is deeply embedded in the Canadian population. And though you might not be you're not racist in your opinion. No way, I'm not racist. You are, and you don't realize it, because look how easy you will adopt these narratives that are being imposed by the government. Like, we've got politicians going on the news and blatantly calling Canadians terrorists, and the people are eating it up because they're raising Palestinian flags. Well, we're supposed to be about Canada. So those Canadians, because they're out there protesting against our government, because millions of our hard-earned tax dollars are being allocated to fund the genocide, and it is a genocide of children, because 80% of the people slaughtered over there are children under the age of 14. Under the age of 14.
What it's doing is pissing off 3/4 of the world that is watching that, and they want to come here and fucking kill us, and we don't even have arms. They gave our weapons to the fucking enemy. Okay,
so what
they did is pick the fight in our name and then called the enemy to kick our ass and then looted us, so we have nothing to fight with. That is what's been happening, and this is why when
you guys don't see what's coming.
Jewish people who got into the Parliament building. Okay, that's what we should have fucking done when we were in Ottawa. Okay, that's what the convoyers needed to fucking do, and those guys walked in there and did it with 100 and some people, and we're gonna criticize them. Like,
you cannot let
fear. Not on my fucking watch, man. No, that
so my only criticism during the convoy is that we went in there unarmed, and I don't mean unarmed with weapons. Okay, so I don't promote violence. There are ways to do this. We are an evolved species. We should act that way. Mind you, if it comes down to it, you can bet your fucking ass I will be standing right next to those boys on the front fucking line. And even if I'm the first one shot, so fucking be it, because you all matter that much to me, and so does this country. So, and I'll make that very clear. And to those who really, really, truly know me, you know that's just who I am. But I do believe that we went in there unarmed. The memorandum of understanding had no teeth, and I knew that in the first place. But there was other things that could have been done and should have been done. But at the end of the day, what we did achieve was absolutely beautiful. And for someone like me, like I when I first got up to Wellington, we carpooled. I had to jump out and walk it myself, because the validation, like, I'm going to get teary right now, right? Like, that's exactly what it meant to be Canadian. How I'm watching everybody,
all walks of life, all cultures in there. Like, it was beautiful. And what I'm seeing now, like, if you can, I would be a part of this too. But these Jews that went and took over the Parliament, that was fucking yes. Like that's what I told Chris Barber. What are you, anti-Semitic? Like that was like the greatest burn ever, you know, because it starts to wake people up at what's really happening here. And I would like to go and support them. Like if we can, we need to get behind them. They're the ones that need to lead.
And they're out there. They're out there with those Palestinian protesters every single day. I'm in touch with Jewish Voices for Peace, independent Jewish voices. You guys should follow Rabbi David Mivasir, because that man is, if rabbi means teacher, okay, he is a teacher through and through. He was the first rabbi in a very reputable position to come out in support of Palestine 100%. They shunned him. The Zionist regime that has infested the Jewish populations worldwide, okay, are no different than the Islamists who infested the Muslims and the Christian nationalists that infest Christianity and Christians everywhere. These are radical political groups with their own personal agendas that will utilize and blanket themselves within people who have strong fear, strong faith, and have been through devastation. And that is the truth.
You know what? Like I said before, we disagree on a few different things, but what we agree on, like this, is like the most important. And everything you said, I just completely agree with. And we're going to deep dive into that a bit later. I got some videos. I want to cover current event topics right now. Okay. The CEO of Vigilante that the internet just fell in love with. Some on the extreme right are offended, and they're like, deliberate act and premeditated. And he wrote on the bullets, because this is what that AI was doing, was denying insurance claims. And this guy, he's a hero.
Police across New York City are fanning out, hunting for the gunman from the brazen daytime killing of a U.S. healthcare insurance executive. There are new images of the suspect and shocking evidence that could point to a motive. So the killer, unidentifiable when he was seen shooting the victim in the back on a midtown sidewalk Wednesday morning. But today, these photos released to the public showing the face of the alleged gunman. Authorities have made clear they believe the killing was premeditated and well-planned. Less clear the precise motive. But as Paul Hunter shows us, cryptic words inscribed on shell casings suggest the victim may have been targeted because of his job. CEO of United Healthcare.
The new clues, all tantalizing. Fresh security cam video. Here, the suspect cycling away after the murder. Here, walking past a store window or down a sidewalk on a cell phone. And here at a New York hostel, mask off, smiling. But none of those clues have yet led them to the killer. 3 other new clues, bullet casings, like out of the movies, reportedly with handwritten messages on them. 3 words: deny, defend, and depose. With the victim being Brian Thompson, CEO of the biggest health insurance company in America, those words echo widespread criticism of the U.S. health insurance industry, that it too often boosts profits by denying coverage to those in need.
What does anybody expect? You know, like, what do you expect? If you are, like, people's kids are dying.
Fuck around and find out.
People, exactly. You asked, I'm sorry. You know, I don't promote the, you know, killing of anybody. I don't, but I'm going to say this. What the fuck do you expect? You're responsible for the slaughter of people's children.
The rule of law is out the window now. That's what's happened. What do you expect when you don't have justice, right? And we're going to get into we don't exactly agree on this too, but we're going to get a topic of Christianity tonight, because that is in the book of Jeremiah, which I talked about, because that talks about it too. Then this is why we have a God that is fair and just, right? And when you allow a certain group of people in society get away and are above the law, i.e., you know, Joe Biden's son, right? Hunter Biden, like his fucking crimes and atrocities, and damn, you can go look at pictures of him raping little kids, man, if you want.
I had them posted on my Facebook
right now, and we're gonna let this guy walk.
One of my Facebook, they shut down.
And then we're gonna applaud this. Like, this is good for them, you know, like, because they're rich and they can get away with it. And that's what an idolater is. In Revelations, when they're talking about idolaters, they're talking about those dumb idiots that are like, oh, well, the American dream, right? We can all have that one day and be above the law and pay to murder people, have a kill list like Obama, You know, money's power, right? The American fucking dream.
You know what? It's just nuts. But to everybody out there, you know, that we're the decision makers when in public health across this whole world, you should take your shit off the internet, because you will be targeted, because you are responsible and guilty for the murder of people and people's children. So, you know, that's your own fault. You reap what you sow in this life.
Okay, so, sister, we're only 40 minutes in. We got to pace ourselves. I don't know, you need a tea or whatever, but this will calm me down. This might make you happy. I found this on the internet today. I don't have it verified at all. It made me feel really good. It said 14 hours ago, and I've never seen this video before. It's apparently Israeli MPs boot fucking Netanyahu.
I'm so happy. I never saw that. I haven't even seen that. I can't believe it's because I was moving. So no, I bet you my inbox is full of this.
That might be a fake. I never had time to verify.
Oh, I hope it's not. I hope it's not, because I've been watching in the Knesset. I watch, and I've got inside people in Israel, right? So like a lot of people don't realize, when you're in international human and civil rights for as long as I've been, I've got inside access. And the reason that I came out, I've watched 8 personal friends of mine, one of them get shot to death live while I watched. Right? Like, and it's heart-wrenching for me. These people have been fighting for everybody's life in this country and other countries for their whole lives. So, so it really is personal to me. It really is, because I that could have been me, and it might be one day, you know. And what are you going to label me as a terrorist because I spent my life and die fighting for our country, our people, and our children? Shame on you. You need to come forth in support of everyone. That's what love your neighbor means. It's not love your neighbor if they're Christian. It's love your neighbor. Period.
You want to see them love BB's neighbor again quickly?
I hope it's true. It'll be in my inbox. If it is, it will. You know what? If he is evil.
They're still not gonna get rid of him. You can't, right? They'll probably pull another one out of the fucking closet. They got
no, but you know what? The truth is this: what the Israeli state has done, and this is why I've been advocating with all these Jewish groups behind the scenes. You know, like, and I'm in direct contact with many of them from here all through the States and even through England, and that's why you're seeing this rise, right? We have a network of us, and a lot of them are like me, and I've known them for 20 years, you know, and met them all over the place. Like, I went to university in Tel Aviv. I went to Tel Aviv University for linguistics. I was there for 8 months. I've got a lot of friends that live on both sides of that wall there. I've been through the checkpoints myself. I've seen the oppression, the racism that exists myself. And that's why, if you look right now, anybody out there, Israel is up in arms in the streets against the government 100% right now. But you won't see that on the Zionist-controlled, on the Zionist-controlled media that you watch. You're not going to see that. So I think it is absolutely disgusting and abhorrent that Pierre Poilievre is out there kissing the fucking ass of fucking another country. You're supposed to be running for this country, asshole, because they're paying for your campaign, which they are, by the way. You're out there kissing the ass of a terrorist state that every country in the world, including our own.
He says his policies are going to avoid it.
Thoughts on the fall of the Assad regime in Syria and anything that Canada could or should do to help restore stability to the region?
Well, first of all, Assad was a puppet for the tyrants of Tehran. He has carried out genocides against the Sunni people in his own country, and now he appears to have been toppled. We don't know who will replace him, but I don't think we should get involved in that mess. It's not our fight. We should stand with our allies, including Israel, against the terrorists.
You know why? I'm going to tell you why right now. Because there's enough people out there finally, and you know, thank God I'm not the only one with a big fucking mouth. Okay, but there's enough people out there, and don't think for 1 second that his teams, every single one of these politicians have a team that monitors the public and monitors, you know, the popularity of narratives within the public. Okay. I've got a very big mouth. I damn well know how much I'm watched. So if that is like, do you have the other video when he was with the fucking, with the cap? You got to do it.
Okay. I'll play it. I just wanted to comment on that video there is that guy's so full of shit that the way he talks about genocide of the Syrian people, that was all funded by Israel. Okay. It really was like, what do you call it? Like double operatives and shit like this. And yeah, he's so fucking, he just pisses me off that
he put the entire country.
He says we want to stay out of Syria and we don't want to get involved there, but we're going to support Israel. Well, Israel is the one fucking invading Syria, man. Like,
he's not even elected yet. I got to comment on this. He's not even elected yet. And this asshole goes out there when Canada has no military right now, zero.
Oh, yeah.
We have no safety.
Yeah.
Our safety net is gone. And he goes out there and threatens a fucking nuclear power.
That's
like,
why
that is a threat to our
Putin
national security.
That's why Putin's doing the fucking face palm, because he's like, this is how stupid Canadians are, right? And I'm here like trying to fucking wake people up, man. Like, wake the fuck up. Like, we're gonna be invaded right away, and we don't. What are we gonna fight back
and
with?
And it will be justified.
Tampons in the fucking men's bathroom. Load up, boys. Let's go. Like, we're gonna get fucking slaughtered, man. Wake up.
To every person out there that is supporting Pierre Poilievre, you better confront him, because if enough of you do, he will pull back that narrative, and it will save our country from a justified invasion by these nuclear powers.
If we clean up our own country, like right quick here, then we won't have to face a fucking invasion. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
right.
If we take care of our own corruption, they don't have to come here and invade. Like, I wish people would wake up.
And they paint such narratives. Okay, listen, I am no fan of the self-proclaimed supreme asshole in Iran. Okay, I think he's a piece of garbage. 100%. He's a fundamentalist.
There. The CIA fucking planted him there, man.
No kidding, they did. No kidding, they did. But here's the thing about it. How many of you out there realize that the only reason the Taliban was fucking completely demolished and pushed into one area of the world where they're contained was directly because of that asshole. And without his participation with the U.S. military, that stupid self-supreme, you know, teenage girl murdering fucking asshole, the Taliban would be still rampant today. You know, you don't know what you're talking about, and you should not promote or endorse certain opinions until you get more information.
Our politicians have become actors, and they say the lines they're handed, and that is it. That's where the money is. The guy pays them to say the fucking lines. And
sovereign Israel. And as we traveled along, though, I realized that this was the most scientifically, democratically, and politically advanced country in the world. Incredible. Think of what they built. I came home from that trip, though, determined to stand with my friends in Israel.
Hey, love it.
I just
his
can't.
Friends, like, why they own Epstein Island? They own all our fucking politicians. People know this. Why are I don't know how? Like, it's like
Israel
on the fucking
Israel child murderers. I mean, like
fucking pedo heaven. Like, man.
You know, there's a lot of good people there too. Like, especially, I'm gonna say it, the younger crowd are not racist. You know what I mean? But the truth is this: if you have not seen the documentary Israelism, you need to watch it. Simone Zimmerman is a fucking gem and so brave. So she was raised, she was an American Jew. She was the star of AIPAC, which is the Israeli lobby for the United States. And they are existent here in Canada too. That, by the way, here in Canada is who funded the organization out of Florida to hire actors to infest the Montreal, protests against NATO and cause riots, who hired actors to burn the Canadian flag and shout death to them and death to them. Those were not the protesters, the Canadians out there protesting Palestine.
It's funny that NATO is a fucking defensive organization, and they're picking fights like crazy. Like,
yeah, the proof is on my profile, guys. I posted the proof. Go check it out yourselves. And I say it all the time, and I'll still say it right now. Don't take my word for it. I will provide you with the proof. There's nothing that I'm going to say unless I clarify that is my own personal opinion. that I cannot back up.
Okay.
Barack Obama is gay.
Okay.
Barack Obama is gay. Maybe we have videotape of him having sex with another man. The whole point of finance is to indebt, otherwise to enslave. What is a mortgage? I mean, what does that stand for? It's a death grip. So when you get a mortgage, you have a death grip held over you because you are in debt. You don't even own the house. The bank owns the house that loans you the money to buy the house, unless you're fortunate enough to have all the money to buy it outright. And even then, you can be taxed by the government, and if you fail to keep up with those taxes, the government can then take it from you. The whole system is based on a financial fraud, which effectively takes the power that we have, and it gives it to a tiny group of individuals who are running the world through the control of finance. With the infinite supply of money that we have allowed them to take, they have literally an infinite supply of money, and with that money, and from their psychopathic point of view, they have bought everything and everyone who can be bought. So those of us who cannot be bought, because we operate on a level that goes way beyond the material, we are not rewarded for such behavior, we are punished for such behavior. And the most slovenly, disgustingly criminal, pedophilia, corrupt moral individuals, those are the ones that are rewarded in this system, which is upside down. We reward the pedophiles, we reward the corrupt, we reward the liars, we reward the people with no morals at all, and usually we compromise them under this system. If I was in charge of the world and I was a psychopath and completely drunk on my own power, you can bet damn sure that's what I would do. I wouldn't allow anyone in a position of power who wasn't completely compromised.
I love him.
I know you do. I do too.
I can't wait. So Owen, I want to officially and publicly invite you, because Ken O'Keefe, I've been in contact with him. We've been in deep discussions about stuff. I'm in love with this man. I'm so in love with this man. I will be doing an interview with him over the next couple of weeks over the holidays. I would love for you to join us, and let's have some discussions. So
you just better not be fucking yanking my chain, or I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah. He's amazing, and this man was the first one to come out and coin ISIS correctly. And what do I mean by correctly? ISIS is an acronym for the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service.
I know. Dude, I love that guy. He's the fucking real deal. That's one of the few people in this world I'd be yes sir, no sir. There's very few people in this world I will fucking take any shit, the real shit abuse from. He is one. That guy's serious. He is fucking serious.
How many Canadians out there knew that ISIS terrorists were medically treated through all of the havoc that they wreaked in Israel by the state of Israel? Now, what does that say to you about this narrative? They all want to kill us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Think about that.
We couldn't have this fucking conversation 5 years ago. The one we're having tonight, we'd be so fast disappeared in jail, whatever. Mossad, CIA, and MI6 have so much fucking power that.
Yeah, but we've split every institution there is right down the center. Because why? Mm-hmm. Because you guys need to get away from this inclusive ideology that has been imposed upon you. We are individuals, and that's how we were able to split all these institutions. There is good and bad in every single group. You've got a jackass in every family. That makes 25% of every single city on earth full of radicals that are heaving, sitting there on the sidelines. When is it my turn? And if you get lazy, those motherfuckers are going to jump in and wreak havoc.
At some point you become an accomplice, though. Like at some point you need to say, you have to draw your line in the sand, like the nurses did when they stepped up against, and the doctors against COVID vaccinations. Like at some point you need to draw your line in the sand and distance. The police did do it, during revolutions and stuff. Like at some point you're guilty by association, and but you're right to some degree. I agree. Let's go talk about these the Jews, since we're on this topic, that took over the parliament. I got a little video on it. This is what Chris Barber had an issue with, and this is why I got really upset, because if people really understood what was happening there, these are Jews against Zionism. And if you get that through your fucking head, we could avert a world war here. That's how serious this is. And then that's why I got upset with Chris, because I'm like, man, you're toting the elite's narrative. They want you to think this way to keep us divided. But if we just join those guys, we could have had this country fixed.
About 150 Jewish activists and allies have just launched a protest inside the Canadian Parliament in Ottawa to demand Canada stop arming Israel. We're joined now by Rachel Small, a member of the group Jews Say No to Genocide Coalition. Rachel, can you describe where you are and what you're doing and what you're calling for?
Thank you. We are in a Parliament Hill building right now. We have completely taken over the lobby of this building that has hundreds of parliamentarians officed in here. Our demand is clear. Canada needs to stop arming Israel and implement an immediate arms embargo. We know that every F-35 fighter jet, every Boeing Apache helicopter dropping bombs on Lebanon and Gaza right now is full of hundreds of Canadian proponents. We're here as Jews to say this violence cannot continue in our name, and we're here as people of conscience to say that the absolute bare minimum Canada needs to be doing right now is stop arming a genocide.
See, what people need to understand, let me go first, is that the world, they're demonizing us. The Russians don't want to come here and fucking kill us. The Chinese don't want to come here and kill us, but they have propaganda and they say we're fucking evil and we're Satanists and we're genociding kids and we don't care. So when people like that stand up and say, hey, they're not in my fucking name, you know, that makes us all look better. That makes us less chance of a fucking world war here. Is if we can look better, like we care and we're not apathetic. And then when you get on TikTok and you're like, no, we're completely apathetic to that genocide, then it's like, oh, like, you know what you're doing to us? You're putting us all in peril. Like, what is it? In the park in the States, that volcano's ready to erupt. Like, we are so close to wrecking this fucking planet here, man. Like, don't fuck with the protesters. Get behind the protesters. Like, it's the people versus the governments and the oligarchs. It's,
and I don't want to hear any more of these arguments. Well, it has nothing to do with Canada. It has everything to do with Canada. Everything. Because those millions of dollars that they're spending to genocide other people anywhere on earth should be allocated to our grandparents that are living in tents across our country. Think about that. It does affect us.
Yeah.
It absolutely does. So even if you are racist, let's say, you still have no fucking excuse, because Canadians this winter are dying because that money should go to them.
Yes. Exactly. Like, it is so stupid. Like, the idiots are running the place. They're running the insane asylum. And I can't handle it. I wish I could just do my job. I wish I could just be a truck driver. But it's because I see the idiots running the place. I gotta fucking do this, and everyone's got to take their breaks, like Chris Guy too. Hey, had enough fuck Canada leave.
Well, he's human, man. Like, people forget. And you know what? I gotta say
I don't blame the guy.
I gotta say it. You guys are completely unaware of the shit that we actually took behind the scenes. Like, I'll tell you, I'm traumatized from my last imprisonment. I am. And you know what? And I noticed it yesterday, and Ed came and picked me up because I couldn't even drive. I was so nervous, right? So, like, I couldn't even drive because with my last arrest in Shelburne, like, I don't know if you guys know, they changed the names on the paperwork to hide me while they shipped me off to Penetang, which is the most maximum security prison in Canada, threw me in the hole where they beat the shit out of me for days, and around the clock for 3 straight days, guards were outside my door telling me that my children were taken, that my daughter was being raped. Like I'm traumatized from it. Absolutely I am. And I'm a tough cookie, man. You know what I mean? So I'll get through it. It was just me accepting the fact that I was actually traumatized. And I did finally yesterday, right? So I'm good. But at the end of the day, I know what I'm capable of handling. And I know that it far supersedes what most people are capable of handling. And this is why I'm relentless, is because I don't think any of you, whether you like me, whether I like you or not, should ever go through that kind of shit. I don't care who you are, where you're from, who you pray to. You could pray to a rock. That's your business. Whatever your relationship with God is your business. Because the truth is, nothing supreme can be limited. Therefore, for you to assert that there is any other God is for you to belittle your own. Think outside the box that they provide you.
Great point, Kelly. Thank you for that. Let's dive back into Palestine here. The big issue, and you sent me this video, and it was about a debate, and the big issue is that the investigation the International Criminal Court has found is that Netanyahu and the Israeli government not only started Hamas, but funded Hamas, allowed funding to go to Hamas. They created the fucking enemy. They admit to this, and that is where the ICC decided that that's a war crime, because you did this on purpose in order to ethnic cleanse those people. This is why when we send arms to help Israel commit that genocide. We're also guilty. Under international law right now, we could stop paying our income tax if we want to, because our government is under investigation for war crimes. Therefore, we can stop paying our income tax. We have a legal reason to stop right now. Stop working.
And before you play the video, I just want to say this. Listen to me. If somebody dropped bombs and slaughtered our children today in Canada, and we aligned ourselves in a civilian military to fight back against it, are we terrorists? Think.
Depends who owns the media, right? And that's Israel.
Let's just be real here. And a lot of military experts say this, but you don't even need military experts. You just need common sense. The idea that you prevent another October the 7th or that you destroy Hamas by making tens of thousands of Palestinian children orphans is insane. It doesn't protect Israel. Forget Gaza. It doesn't protect Israel. And let me just deal with this classic. My paymasters in Qatar. Yes, I host a show for Al Jazeera English. Let's just be very clear. In December, the New York Times published a very, very long piece.
Come on. Nobody
very
cares.
important
Nobody
here. Very
cares.
important here. It's relevant to the debate. The New York Times.
All right,
published
make
a
it
very long
relevant.
piece.
Please make it relevant.
New York Times published a very long piece which said a month before October the 7th, the head of the Mossad, David Barnier, went to Doha, Qatar, and the Qataris said, "Do you want us to keep sending money to Gaza?" And he went back to Netanyahu. He said, "What should I say?" And Netanyahu said, "Yes, please." And he went back. He said, "Yes, please send the money to Gaza." Elon went to work for the government of Benjamin Netanyahu a month afterwards. He's never apologized for that to the Israeli people. Benjamin Netanyahu's never apologized to that to the Israeli people. So if anyone should answer questions about Qatari funding of Hamas, allegedly, reportedly, whatever you want to call it, it's the Israeli government that facilitated it for many, many years. Elon was in that government. He's the spokesperson for that government.
It was a terrible mistake to allow Qatari money into Gaza.
It was a terrible
That was the
mistake.
most amazing debate I've ever watched in my life. Madi Hassan, you are a rock star. Like the man, and with that, for everybody out there, if you're curious about Islam, even you, Owen, like you want to watch. There is a debate at Oxford Union on is Islam a religion of peace or not, and Madi is the one debating in there too, and it's fantastic. And you need to go. He shuts down the narratives and makes points and provides the resources for you to look into. So there's radicals.
Islam means peace, and Mossad created.
It means it means submission. Actually, it doesn't mean peace. It means submission to God.
Right. It means that you're not a vengeful, and they do have a lot of freedom of religion, and I mean, once you get to know them, but the idea of radical Islam was created by Mossad, was created by Israel.
Yeah, it absolutely was. It totally was. But it's the same thing, right? So, and I'm really disappointed. Like I'm not going to call her out by name, but most people already know because I took a position against someone who has a very strong Christian following, here in Canada, and who I love, and I love this woman, but I am extremely disappointed in her. She's been bringing on all these fake theologians that are paid by Zionist regimes in order and promoting this hatred.
I'll drop names. That Laura Lynn Thompson. There's also Pastor Art. I really got pissed off at too. That whole it seems to be that PPC camp.
That's the thing. Okay, listen. You need to learn the difference between religion and faith, especially, I'm going to say it, if you're a Christian, because Jesus was not a Christian. He was Christ. Okay. And he stood for the separation of faith and religion, because during his lifetime, religious leaders were the state. They were the state.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you have to, once you wrap your head around this, you can come back to faith and walk in the principles he intended for you, because he did. Love your neighbor. Love them.
We're going to get into this deep later. I just want to talk about quickly, because I have these videos in order, how PP and everyone else, especially PP in that one video, says, this is not our war. We shouldn't be funding. Like, we want to stay out of Syria, but we're going to help Israel and give all the shit to Israel. It's so crazy, man. But that is the truth. And for the states as well, this is not our shit. Why are we going to kill ourselves for this Middle East war to protect Israel? You need to wrap your head around
Yemen had
that.
shot down a $32 million American drone. And then recently, although not in mainstream media, they also did so much damage to the aircraft carrier USS Lincoln that the carrier had to retreat and pull out for repairs. And the cost of that converted after inflation is $6.8 billion. And you know it's carrying billions of dollars worth of aircraft too. And sadly, also, 2 American destroyers were badly damaged on the way out of the Red Sea too, which cost over $1 billion each. Not to mention, we spent over $1 billion in ammunition against Yemen, whom America hit illegally in bypassing our own Congress. This is an extremely expensive, pointless war with Yemen. And Yemen is not a threat to America, cannot reach America, has nothing to do with America. All this has to do with Israel. And it's Israel who is pushing us into all of this. America should really, really stay out of these Middle Eastern affairs. See that Israel is not an ally to us. And if we ever do go into Middle Eastern affairs, it's only with an olive branch and to help people. This is all hurting our economy, our reputation, and our political alliances unnecessarily.
Listen, I just got to say this, and this goes to every one of you out there that are like, well, what's our other options? Why don't you think outside of the box that they have indoctrinated you into? Okay. Now I know there's a lot of you out there that are like, for me to promote the idea of direct democratic process and taking our authority and putting it into our own hands. Oh, we're not ready for it. Really? Because that's what they said to us in 2020, when there was only a handful of us telling you that your government is committing domestic terrorism and that COVID is a lie. And guess what? You were all pointing your fingers at us. And who was right? And I'm not saying that I'm right about everything. For certainly, I don't know everything. If I did, then this would have been over a long time ago. But the fact is this: you have the authority still in this country. Us as a collective, all people, whether you're Native, whether you're Canadian, it makes no fucking difference. The authority belongs to us. The only reason they have it is because you give it to them with your participation. You do not need to vote for anything less than yourself. And that's what I'm after. That's what I'm after. And you know what? There's a lot of politicians that really want to serve the people. And once they got in there under their registered party, because when you register anything, that means that the government owns you and the crown owns you. And no matter how much you want to do, they're going to crack that whip and you're under contract to fulfill it. Or you go to federal prison. You want evidence of that? Look at Randy Hillier before he left the house, in comparison to the things he said after. You want to know why he was a drunk while he was in there? Because he had to put up with watching the sexual grooming and fucking rape of political youth groups. Don't take my word. Go listen to him talk about it himself. Why didn't he talk about all that stuff while he was in the house? Because he would have ended up in federal prison. Think, okay? That's all I want. That's if I could get one person to crack open their eyes enough to see beyond the box that was given to them, I've done my job. And that's it, because you'll take it from, you can't help but move on it after that, out of not, even if you're selfish, because it will affect you. It does. It will affect us all. And so
I start with that, when I say, what do you do in this situation? Think back of what advice you'd give to people in 1938, 1937, before World War II. What advice would you give to those people? Well, look at what they did to them. They displaced everybody. They took everybody and they took them from one part of the world and put them in the other part of the world, got them in a different culture, different language, different uniform. And I didn't have the video I wanted to upload it, but there's a police officer recently, or there's a security guard, an East Indian security guard in Edmonton last night. He got shot by a First Nations, guy. And he doesn't know the culture here. He's a security guard. He tried to tell a North American Indian that he wasn't supposed to be here, and he just fucking fucked around and found out. You know what I mean? He doesn't know the history we have here. He's just a security guard, right? It was in a hallway of an apartment. But this is what happens in World War II, is that the biggest mistake is that they took millions and millions and millions of people and displaced them. And so you become more easily controlled.
Yeah.
Like the East Indians coming here, most likely, and I'm telling them this, you're probably going to end up in a concentration camp. You guys need to understand.
But not
this.
even just that. Okay, so and I want to address something for a second here too. A lot of you out there, do we have a problem with immigration right now? You're fucking right, we do. But it's not. They're not coming from the Arab world, guys. And this is part of that generational indoctrinated racism. Is that the fact is the most white Canadians out there can't tell the difference between brown people, and it's important for you to be able to do that, because it's not Arabs that are causing these problems. It is East Indians that are that they're taking on purpose.
80% of our immigration right now is East Indian.
Yes,
and
it's
not like,
and it doesn't mean that all East Indians are bad. They're right now, and I'm telling you, I just moved out of Brampton, Ontario. Okay, so I actually know what I'm talking about. All right, and there is an internal war. Generational East Indian Canadians are fighting against this immigration too. you know, and they're like, get out of here. You know, like it's insane. So, and even they feel threatened because they have adopted the values of what it means to be Canadian, which are multicultural values at large.
The biggest thing we can do, like I've always said, is look back at World War II and what were the lessons that came out of that. Number one, human rights. We learned that everybody needs to have fair and equal human rights across the board, and that's how we avoid conflict. That's how we avoid world wars, okay? And number two, first they came. When they come for the one group of people, you better say something, because if you don't, eventually it's going to be your turn. You're next. You got to get into your fucking heads that you're next. You don't give a shit about those Palestinian kids dying for over a year and suffering. That's fine, okay? You're fucking next.
We are. We don't even. Listen.
Your turn.
We are the richest country in the world in natural resources. Not only is there no excuse for anybody to be suffering financially in this country or homeless, there is no. We have the capacity from our resources alone to fix poverty instantly worldwide.
There's never been a bigger gap between the wealth ever in history. Rome fell apart long before we are. Like, we're holding it together. They what did they figure? Rothschilds in the hundreds of trillions of fucking dollars.
They're the ones behind Israel. They own Israel. There's a video out there of Jacob before he died, you know, bragging about owning Israel. You know, and to every Jew out there that's been sitting on the fence, it's now that you've seen that there are Jews rising, you don't have an excuse anymore. Stop being afraid. Stop being afraid. If you don't take a stand, you are complicit. You are like, you know, and it's very simple. How do you want to be remembered? What are you going to say to your grandkids one day when they say, what did you do for those children? What did you do? You didn't protect. What do you mean you didn't protect? You don't care about
I went to the ballot box and I wore a MAGA hat and I voted
just
for
posted
Trump.
at the New York Times. You write this: in nearly 30 years of covering United States foreign policy, I've never seen a president give up so much to so many for so little. Explain what you mean.
Well, it's very simple, Wolf. The question of the U.S. Embassy's location in Israel, whether we should move to Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, has been the most sensitive real estate issue, basically, in American foreign policy for almost 70 years. Now, for us to give that away, to basically move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem and to recognize that as Israel's capital, personally, I'm not against that in the right context. I'm not even against it now, Wolf, if we got something in return for it. What could we have gotten in return? Bibi Netanyahu wanted this desperately. He's in trouble politically at home. Trump could have come to him and said, Bibi, you want the embassy moved? That's really important for you. Here's what I want. I want you to announce a ban on any more settlements beyond the settlement blocks in the West Bank for two reasons. One, that will preserve the possibility of a two-state solution at maximum, and at a minimum, it'll preserve the possibility of separation between Israelis and Palestinians, so we won't have Israeli settlers living in densely populated Arab areas. Had Trump done that, had he done a deal, the art of the deal, not the art of the giveaway, here's what we would be in so much better situation. By the way, Palestinians then would have said, that's a fair trade-off. Arabs would have said, that's a fair trade-off. And Bibi even could have gone to his cabinet and said, look, I had to do this, but look what I got in return. Instead, Trump gave away one of the crown jewels of American foreign policy for free, probably for a sugar high to get this guy in Alabama elected and to pay off, campaign donors and promises. That is pathetic, Wolf.
Donald Trump's the greatest businessman I've ever seen. Hey? He'll make America great again.
Listen, you guys, you only have one savior, okay? You only have one savior, and they're not human.
Amen. Thank
you. Okay, look to the Creator. Listen. Like, what is our purpose? Okay, it doesn't matter what faith you follow. You have one Creator, and it's the same as everyone else, or it's not the Creator because it's not supreme. Okay. It's that simple. Everything is simple. People complicate shits for their own personal, issues or ploys or preferences. But when it comes to freedom, your preference is irrelevant. Only freedom. It's the truth, and the truth doesn't care how you feel about it. It's the truth. Even the bad stuff was created by the creator. You know, like I'm going to use myself as an example. Recently, I was homeless for the first time in my life. I had to move me and the kids into my father's into his living room. It was only for a few days. You know, we just moved into our house and everything's fine. But do I look at it like I'm a victim? Fuck no. I look at it as if my creator wanted me to really feel it and really learn what people are really going through. That's how I look at it. Because there's always a reason that's bigger than yourself. And if you can just come to the realization of that, then you'll be able to forgive everyone for any trespass against you. And that's why I don't hold grudges. And you'll be able to see things always and question them from every perspective outside of your own personal preference and bias.
Amen, sister. I agree with you 100%. Thanks for sharing that as well. You know, I kind of want to get back into the parallels between World War II. Everything is, you know, happening so much the same. Like all these, it was North Korea had a martial law there for a day. Like all the governments flipping, all the assassinations happening. It's like flashbacks from World War II. But have you seen what is it? South Korea just got freedom. Check out their
So don't you think that's fucking strange?
It's coming here next. That's going to be our fucking kids here in Canada one day.
Well, it's already happening, right? So I understand everybody's position out there, and they see all the Palestinian flags. So I've actually spoken directly with many of the organizers across this country, and you need to understand something. So they're going to raise, and it's already started. I just went and saw it personally today. Right? Like it's already began. They're taking the advice because they are Canadian and they're raising the Canadian flags with those Palestinian flags because they can see that, you know, that why they're supporting the narrative against them by not doing that. And they of course they have no problem doing it. They're Canadian and they're proud to be Canadian. You know what I mean? The reason they're doing that, the reason they put up is because we're emotional animals. All of us, and their immediate family members abroad are being slaughtered. Their nieces, their sisters, their mothers, their fathers are being slaughtered. So they emotionally responded by raising the flag of where their immediate family members are from and being slaughtered. But they're Canadian. Make no mistake. You know, and you need to realize you need to look outside that box because that box is not who you are, and your actions in supporting against them is completely contradictory to everything that you stand for, that you proved you stand for with the convoy.
When you go meet your maker, do you want to say that you died for your country or you died for humanity? What do you think your creator is going to want to hear? That you died for your corporation, your flag, or that you died for his creation? Hey?
The importance of being Canadian is not political. It's not national. It's cultural. And what these states are moving to do is eliminate culture. That's why they go after all the indigenous bands and clans around the entire world first with their language, because they want to uniform you into slavery, because it is our cultures that define people from different places. It's the cultures of those people. Okay. And the importance of those cultures, I'll tell you right now, is because without the differences amongst us with our cultures, there is no room for us to evolve, because you can't adapt to anything. There's no compromise. There's no environment for compromise in order to provide adaptation, which is a necessity to create anything new. And what is your purpose by your creator if not to create? You must support different cultures.
I think I would agree with everything, but I have a little bit maybe.
It doesn't mean
But
It doesn't mean
protect his
align.
creation is one thing, and fight for his creation, and fight for the things he's given you, like you should, and not just let them go to waste and cast your pearls to swine. You know that you should take care of the things that we were given in this world. We're not, right? But you know, let's just take a break. We'll calm down here because Trump
with the policy of the United States over the last few decades, and that would be to completely destroy the Middle East. Donald Trump is owned by the very same interests that owned the U.S. Congress. It seemed that people in World War II realized, especially with Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that we could not do this a third time. But apparently we've been cast under another spell and seem to forget that we do have the capacity to destroy this planet. Now, those of us who have any kind of sanity and humanity realize the dangers of this, but those who are running the world through the control of finance have a major incentive to incite war, because more important than the money that they control is the most important parameter of a tyrannical system, a tiny minority ruling over the masses. And that principle is you will never be able to rule people if you cannot divide them. So you must divide them. What divides people more than anything else? War. Things like that are good in the view of a banker. Consciousness of humanity is rising, and many of the key principles of the tyrannical system we're dealing with are being exposed. And I have been shocked that even back in 2003 that people were talking about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Excuse me, the United States is the biggest producer, distributor, and user of weapons of mass destruction, and it's going to be the moral authority to talk about who can and can't have them? It was absurd then. It's even more absurd.
Okay, so I'm going to say it because there's a lot of things that I can't talk about publicly because it will provide the state the ability to dismiss me as being fucking bananas. What many of you across this country don't realize about me is that I am an actual scholar. In 25 years, I spent traveling the entire world, and I studied and learned to read and write cuneiform, which is the oldest language on earth outside of the Vedic scrolls, which I'll probably decipher for the whole world in my retirement, because I really do believe that I have the capacity to do that. But anyways, when I learned cuneiform and I learned about the Enuma Elish, okay, and the tablets of creation, within the tablets of creation from ancient Sumer, there is information that was written about weapons that are far more advanced than any technology you could even imagine exists here on Earth. And the two people that were tasked with protecting the two tablets that this information was written on was Muammar Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein. And the two weapons that they were protecting, the locations that were written in these tablets of where those weapons were planted here on Earth, they protected, they got. You see all these fires that burn orange and can burn down houses and every appliance within it, cars in the driveways, but they leave little shrubs and bushes and trees standing. That is a weapon. It's a laser technology that far supersedes laser technology that you would comprehend even on a university level. You see the weather, all of a sudden you can have 4 massive storms hit a fucking a town on the top of a mountain that is 200 miles inland and 2,000 feet high. That is a weapon.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Cool.
I know for a fact. I read it.
You don't think Trump will save us?
Unpainful that vaccine shot is, so everybody go get your shot.
It works incredibly well, 95%, maybe even more than that. It works incredibly well, and I would recommend it to a lot of people that don't want to get it, and a lot of those people voted for me, frankly.
I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines.
People that do get it get better much quicker. That's a very important thing to know. They don't get nearly as sick, and they get better. Lindsey Graham's an example. He said, if I didn't have this vaccine, I would have died. And the vaccines do work, and they are effective. And here is my thing. I think I saved many. I don't think. I know. I saved millions and millions of lives throughout the world. We could have had another Spanish flu. We could have had, in 1917, close to 100 million people died, they say. But it was really bad. And now other countries are using our vaccines and, tremendous. They're tremendously successful. It's a great vaccine. It's a safe vaccine, and it's something that works.
I recommend you take it. We saved tens of millions of lives. Take credit. Don't let them take that away from you.
Okay, so the president made news.
Do you agree with that? Right?
Both the president and I are vaxxed, and did you get the booster?
Yes.
I got it too.
Millions and millions of lives. Eh?
You know, don't let your desperation from your devastation cause you to support fascism.
It's all these Christians that blow my mind. Where it was Revelation 13:3, I think, it talked about how the guy was wounded, mortally wounded, miraculously in front of everybody and survived, and the whole world followed him, the beast. And I posted that. So there's a picture today on Facebook, and it was United Canada, and it was like a hand of God, a finger directing the bullet from. And I posted. It's all I put was that Revelation quote. And they got so mad at me. And I'm like, if the shoe fits, man, like, you know, if it didn't fit, you wouldn't get mad at all, would you? Like, think about it for a second.
Words are the most important thing in society. And it's because the words that we use define the laws that keep the peace amongst a vast array of individuals. We are individuals, each with our own medical situations, health requirements, hopes, dreams. You are who you are, and it is important. It matters. You know, you don't have to conform to my ideals. I do not have to conform to yours, and I think I'm a testament to that. You know, and I take pride in it, because if I can leave that example to my children, and I have, my daughter was responsible for the entire province of Ontario doing a walkout, which changed the policies and got a sexual predator who was a teacher fired, and implemented policies to vet those teachers properly and to pay attention if students bring forth a complaint instead of being ignored. So it does matter what you do. Your legacy that you leave behind does matter as an individual. What kind of world are you going to be comfortable enough leaving behind to your kids? My daughter, and I look at everyone's daughter as my own, will not be a handmaiden. My son, and I look at everyone's son as my own, will be nobody's fucking slave. Period. And if I gotta live another 100 years, I fucking will. Period.
I wouldn't get in your fucking way, lady. I won't.
The Samson option. If Israel's about to lose a war, they'll fire all their nuclear weapons at once. Yes, this is a real option. Check it out on any search engine, even check on Wikipedia. And sadly, this is not even new. America and Russia had the same thing as an option back in the Cold War days. It was called MAD, Mutually Assured Destruction, where if the American or Soviet Empire was about to lose the war, they would fire all their nuclear weapons at once, so that nobody wins. It creates the incentive not to go to war at all. That's why Israel has a Samson option. That's why they advertise and broadcast it. The name itself comes from an old story out of the Book of Judges, of the strongman hero Samson.
You know, I gotta say something. You know, when it comes to like policies that are implemented or proposed for society, okay, I can like nitpicking at, you know, the different points and information that there is on the subject. That's I support that for sure. But when it comes to the fact that over 80% of the people of another nation where children have been slaughtered, it's a very there's no nitpicking. If you try to nitpick, you're looking for reasons to support the slaughter of 80,000 children. It's a very simple, yeah, it's either you're a baby killer or you're not. Which one is it? There's no nitpicking there. It's either you're for the murder of children or you're not.
And your fucking argument for casualties, civilian casualty, is bullshit when they find 8-year-old girls with 300 and some rounds in their body.
384 rounds of bullets in their bodies.
Yeah.
First
so
of all,
explain.
Look at when they took out in Lebanon. They went to take out one of the leaders of Hezbollah, so to speak, or whatever. I forget his name. But so they can fire one rocket into one apartment and kill the man without destroying any of the other building. But they accidentally killed 80,000 children. Think. Those children were my children, and they were your children too. And if you turn your head to it, then you have no right to complain when it happens to you. And it will. It fucking will.
Okay, buckle up, sister. This is getting tense. I got somebody I have to ask a question on their behalf. but we're going to watch this
Albert
video
Pike
first.
said this about Freemasonry in this very book. He says that Freemasonry is based almost totally on the Kabbalah.
Yes.
Jewish magic.
Yes.
And many Jewish rabbis have admitted this, and they say that in all of the rituals of Freemasonry, you will find the Kabbalah, the system of magic of the Jews. For example, the 30th degree of Freemasonry is the Knights of Kadosh.
Yes.
And it involves skulls and black robes and a knight laying in a coffin speaking from the dead.
Yes.
And all of this turning to the god of the underworld, the gods of the underworld, is all related to Jewish Kabbalah because they believe in necromancy, communication with the dead. And they believe that in the last days, a Kabbalistic master will come upon the earth, and there will be a Jewish utopia, a new world order of the Jews, but they must go along with what are called the Noahide laws and be good Gentiles and go along with Kabbalah. And if they recognize that the Holy Spirit is the serpent. And by the way, that's also taught in the 32nd degree of Freemasonry, that is, the serpent is the Holy Spirit.
Right.
And he is going to encircle the earth.
So there's a few points that I'd like to make on that before you ask that question, if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so number one, okay, to everybody out there, and I've done this on purpose before, and I've claimed on camera, oh, I'm a Freemason, blah blah blah, and I've done it on purpose just to fuck with the trolls, right? But okay. I do know a couple things about it, okay? So, and what I do know about it is this: there's only approximately 188 real Freemasons in the entire world, and they have nothing to do with the Jewish Kabbalah. They're just extremely intelligent people who hold on to things like sacred geometry, and and what their characters are. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, but they all stay in secrecy. And there's a reason for that, is there's a lot more bad out there that you don't want to empower or embolden bad people with information, scientific information that could blow our world up. And even the bad ones out of that 188 would not release the information. However, what you see as Freemasonry on a worldwide scale is a simulated de facto version of it, and it is bad. Okay, and it is the Jewish Kabbalah, and it is this political control, and it is worldwide. It's not just on Zionists. Okay, it's the Roman Empire, 100%.
Those real Freemasons you're talking about, the 188, are those the Druze?
They're the Druze.
Yeah, I would be insulting to call them Freemasons. They're the Druze.
But that's originally that's what they were, right? So that's what the English term for them would be.
Oh,
they are the Druze. They are the Druze, not the Jews. The Druze.
So what I was supposed to ask you is, who's your grandma?
My grandma. So my grandmother spoke 77 different languages, and she could roundhouse any one of my brothers over a table at 91 years old. So there's no proof. There's no proof, but she was a Smithsonian scholar, right? So, but there's no proof that she was a spy. But there's a possibility there.
Okay, so I found a nice little treasure today. So the Star Remphan. I want to talk about this. It's a big issue. It's in the book of Acts. It's in the book of Amos. And there's been an issue what that six-sided star looks like, because the Zionists are, that's their flag, was a six-sided star. And that if it's the same six-sided star as the Star Remphan, then that's the one they got in trouble with last time. So I found a video of an old Kabbalah book about the symbols, their symbols, and it is quite old. And you'll see that what the six-sided star looks like, and you'll see Moloch, you'll see Remphan, you'll see what's the other one, Baphomet at the end.
Can I tell you what that is?
Yeah.
It's a book on drugs.
Is it?
Yeah.
A book on drugs?
Yep. Psychedelics.
Would you
I know
read
from the
Hebrew?
I know from the symbols. I know from all the symbology in it. I'd like to take a closer look at it, but yeah, from what I see, yeah, it's a book on drugs.
But that's their symbols. That's their symbolism. The ones they
Yeah,
use.
but the symbols count for different things, right? And different what do you call it? Trance experiences under psychedelics. Right. So there's a lot of things out there, and that's why it's easily people don't know the things they don't comprehend, right?
I bet you we
like,
could get AI to translate that. I bet you we get
yeah,
AI.
well, that's why I want to take a closer look at it and maybe get some references from people.
Yeah.
But
I thought
from what I see so far, it looks like a book on psychedelics. Yeah.
Interesting. But the symbols are there. And the symbols are there. That's what I wanted to get at. And that it matches. That's the Star David, the 6-sided star, and then they got the Baphomet, and they got Moloch, the owl, like, and the Torah. Like it's tying the Jewish, and those are the ones,
are stars.
What's that?
They're stars, right?
Yeah,
so when you go into transient states, which is mostly achievable by most people through psychedelics and the use of psychedelics, right? When you go into transient states, some people will travel off to certain stars, and and then they get these ideas and they try to implement the ideas on Earth, etc. Like there's different reasons for everything, right? So because we're all individuals, so it all depends. But that's why I want to take a closer look at it.
Oh yeah, no, but thanks for your opinion on it. I appreciate it, and I wanted to get that out because it's something I found dig deep that made that connection that some people have a hard time making. It's there, man. Like, yeah. Okay, so this is that. Going back to the Star of David, that it really has nothing to do with
the Star of David is never mentioned in the Holy Bible. The only time this star right here was ever mentioned was when Stephen was being stoned to death outside the city walls of Jerusalem. And that's next on the trumpet. You can see right here, there is no reference to the star or shield of David in the Bible. The book of Acts records the very first martyr for Jesus Christ. And this is what he said to the people that were about to put him to death by stoning. Yea, ye took up the tabernacle of Moloch, and the star of your god Remphan, figures which ye made to worship them, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon. Moloch. Leviticus is book number 3 in the Old Testament. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire of Moloch. It's still right there in Jerusalem. Right behind that place where Moloch is the temple that Solomon built. But Solomon built him a house. It's continued right there in Acts when Stephen was being stoned. And he told the people, howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, as saith the prophet. Heaven is my throne, and earth is my footstool. What house will ye build for me, saith the Lord? Or what is the place of my rest? The book of Acts continues. Hath not my hand made all these things? Ye stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart and ears, ye do always resist the Holy Ghost, as your fathers did, so do ye. When they heard these things, they were cut to the heart, and they gnashed on him with their teeth. This is in the dome of the courthouse where they were just trying Donald Trump. And almost 2,000 years later, the Nazis reintroduced the star badge for the Jews. The Nazi policy for forcing Jews to wear a star was an act of symbolization, which aimed to divide the Jewish and non-Jewish population. As soon as the Germans entered Poland, they began to persecute the Jews. Jews were not permitted to practice their professions. They were not allowed to keep their shops open or walk on the pavement. They soon made
a part of our history. But yeah, it's not a Jewish thing. It was forced upon them, right?
Yeah. Well, there's so many different reasons for that, right? So, and again, it begins with this group of radicals that will blanket themselves for political purposes within people and their faith.
That's where the money is.
Yeah.
I have another thing too. I'm going to play it. This, if anything gets me into fucking trouble, I'm telling you, this is the one that worries me, because this is at the bottom of the rabbit hole for me. This has been hidden. And I'm going to play this, and people afterwards might have to pause it and read some of it because it's to read. But you got to realize that they own all the sides, and this one they have a memory hold so hard, and you're going to have a hard time finding any information on it, but I know it's true. I've done my research. Years ago I knew this, and now it's hard to find, but
So there's a point I want to make, okay? And I said it in one of my essays. And I say it all the time, sometimes on Facebook. All the world is, and I stole half of it, by the way, with this quote from Shakespeare. All the world is a stage. Only a character is not a role any actor could ever play. And a character is defined by what? By actions.
your actions. Yeah.
By actions. Okay. So, and with that said, my grandmother, that's where I get my weird blood from, right? So, and my last name is Farkas. She married a man named Farkas. That's where the Jewish side comes from. So, and this is why Anti-Hate Canada doesn't attack me very much, is because I am the daughter of an Ojibwe Cree mother, who, by the way, my grandmother loved. Okay. So even if she was a spy, and I mean, I learned about Israel and Palestine since I was a little kid through her, you know, it was homework. So, but even if she was a spy, she loved the Palestinians, you know, so even if there are good people that will stay within bad realms to cause good change. This is going to be my point. That's my point.
You're a Putin fan? Really?
Well, no, I'm not. I'm not a fan of any politician. I got to be honest.
Because I think that's the shit right there. That it is the most dangerous information I can share. Because that is the one that puts a fucking big gear in the whole theater of bullshit. Because
I'll put up a document. I'll put up a document after that'll blow all your minds.
Yeah,
so and the guy who wrote it was murdered.
But to me, in my opinion, that's probably the most dangerous thing for the narrative, because they're all related. Okay? They're all fucking related, man. And that's what you got to understand. It's a family fight here, and we're just a slave class that are just getting sucked up into it, and we're getting too smart, and they don't want to share their toys.
The last time we got this smart, we had a flood, and there was a guy named Noah who stored this.
Yeah, or you know, God destroyed our tower and changed our languages.
It's because they're trying to, and I say this all the time. Remember the movie The Usual Suspects?
Mm-hmm.
The greatest thing the devil ever did was to show people he didn't exist. I disagree. The greatest thing the devil ever did was to convince people he was God.
This is what concerns me right at this moment.
A prayer for the coming of Mashiach, for real peace throughout the world.
Interesting, right? They're all saying this. And they've already declared somebody their Mashiach, their Prince of Peace. And Christians all know that their Mashiach is going to be our Antichrist, because the Messiah has already came. And for the ones that say, Chris, we've been in the end times forever. You've been saying Jesus is going to come back forever. There's a difference in a non-prophetic claim of the end times and a prophetic claim of the end times. What I mean by that is that prophecy is fulfilled. They have the red heifer almost ready to sacrifice. The person that they have called their Mashiach, their Prince of Peace, just appointed an architect to rebuild the third temple. They have minted this man's face on a coin with King Cyrus, which maybe that can be your homework. Look up who King Cyrus is. Wars, rumors of war, global unrest. You look at the floods, the earthquakes, the hurricanes that are only going to get worse. Israel is surrounded by its enemies. Not just surrounded, his surrounded enemies, her surrounding enemies, want to obliterate her and are actively trying to. Once that third temple is built, which it will be very soon, the abomination of desolation will stand in that third temple. How long will it take exactly? I don't know. I can't tell you. We don't know the day or the hour. You know the verse that you guys like to throw around a lot. Maybe not you. But it says in the Bible that in the end there will be mockers and scoffers, even Christian, saying, "Where is your Jesus? You've been saying this for forever." But he says he will reward his watchers, the ones that are watching for him, the ones that are ready for him. If you don't believe that Jesus is God, I'm going to urge you to pull your Bible out, go on the internet, type in End Times Prophecies on YouTube, and really see what's going on. The amount of prophecies that the Bible has fulfilled, especially right now, would make it impossible not to be a true book. So look up who they're calling their Mashiach and their Prince of Peace. It might shock you, because Christians are obsessed with him, as was I at one point, until I found out that prophecy says who he really is.
Okay, so a couple points. So number one, Israel's surrounded by enemies. Really? Really? Because every single time Jewish people have been exiled from anywhere on earth, it is the Muslim countries that open their arms to them, including Palestine. Number one. Okay? Well, everybody else in the world was shunning them and killing them. It was the Muslims that opened their arms.
Oh,
okay,
sure.
So why then did they become enemies? Why don't you look into it yourself and you will find out why? Okay,
Because
that's point number one. Point number two.
Yeah.
Point number two. Okay, I'm not going to adopt, the believer stance on any angle. What I will do is I'm going to give you my own opinion. This is my own personal opinion. It's not factual or anything. You're welcome to indulge with me on it if you want to or not, whatever. How do you know that you are not manifesting the repetition of the histories you learn about within the biblical documents?
Oh, for sure we are. It 100% is self-fulfilling prophecy. But that is God's will, is it not?
No. How about what if it was God's will to show you history so that you don't repeat it?
I don't know. It seems like the Bible's been just fulfilling prophecy.
It's going to be up. Listen, that's up to every individual to decide through their actions. And I would say that why would you want to decide on that? Because you want to create the sort of world you're comfortable dying and leaving your kids in. That's my opinion.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, but
it's my opinion.
From what the Bible says, and it kind of sucks, but it says like we're not gonna do it. Like, mankind's not going to make it. You watch the Terminator, like mankind, we're not going to make it, are we?
Well, maybe we're not going to make it because we keep endorsing the same actions over and over again when we should be creating and not destroying things.
In my opinion, we're not creators. There is only one creator, and all we can do is protect and
I respect that,
nourish
right?
that creation, right? We're not on the same level. And where I'm getting a lot of, and I'm agreeing with, like, is I found this one girl on the internet. Her name is on TikTok, mustard seed something, and I'll play her video right away. And I really like her stuff. So she's from California. She used to be a model, and she was ex-Jewish Kabbalist.
Yeah.
And she did the mysticism, and she was right into. So there's a lot of these girls, and mostly on TikTok now, and they did the New Age religion, the esoteric stuff, and then went too far, and realized what evil really is and what they're really doing. And now they've gone extremely the other way, and you can tell they're traumatized, especially this one. And she has quite the story too. She was in some kind of weird ceremonies and all that. I suggest people follow her, but I'll play this video and hear what they're saying, because to me, that really resonates when people really seen the evil. You got to trust them what they're saying.
I know you're not in a place to hear this, but yes, if you use the occult or magic in an attempt to try to heal your trauma, yes, you are furthering yourself into becoming a predator or staying a victim. That's something I needed to be more specific about, is if you use the occult, you are more likely to be a sexual predator, and you're also more likely to be a victim of that, of someone doing that to you. Okay? This is just, if I had the time to sit down with you and show you the science and the white papers, girl, I would. I tell you this because I care. I'm not trying to make anyone's day bad, and you're allowed to not like the information I give you. Does that negate its truth? No. Listen, the Bible says, "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter." That's a very poetic way of describing the yin-yang. Like, yes, y'all, of course polarity and duality exists in nature. However, the doctrine of it, the worship of it, the theology of it, is when you start getting into Luciferianism. So you can't drive out darkness with darkness. And I tried, sis. Like, I guarantee you, anything that you can come up with from the occult that you're using to try to heal yourself, I tried it. And it's not that I failed, it's just it literally comes from Lucifer. And, like I said, I know you're not in a place to hear this, but for those of you that do hear this, counterfeit peace is just that. It's counterfeit, and it's not going to last you. What being a Christian has taught me is where I would crumble and never get better in areas of my life that were brutal and difficult, and where trials would happen and where I needed healing. I never got better with the occult, but through Christianity, through Jesus Christ, through following Jesus, I have peace. I have peace over the traumas that have happened to me. I have peace over what could happen to me. And I have peace over myself and just over everything that has happened to me. And without Jesus, I would have no peace. I would only have counterfeit peace. So I say this out of love. Please read the Bible. Jesus loves you.
Okay, so I've got a few things to say. So, and this is in regards to human behavior, okay? There are groups that exist out there that are fucking nuts. Absolutely bonkers. And over the millennia, people who have delved into what they call the occult, okay, define it in so many different ways. Now, what does occult actually mean? Means That is not secret, but that which is hidden. It's hidden knowledge. That's what it means, right? But gnosis, for instance, a Gnostic and an agnostic, okay, are two completely separate things. Okay, for instance, Gnostics, okay, are the people that study the actual Aramaic gospels written by the hands of the actual disciples of Christ, of which most people don't even know exist, for instance. And they do. And I know, and I've held them in my hands. So I've had to be in like hazmat gear, basically, but I have held them in my hands with translators. And they're written in Aramaic, not Greek. Okay. And they're very different from what you read in the Bible. Not completely different, but very different. Okay, especially on certain aspects, but we'll get into that. It's a whole nother show, right? So,
secrets are currency. I'm going to cut you off because I disagree. Secrets are a currency. You want to call it hidden or whatever, but it's more
but that's what it
valuable
means, right? So, and the importance,
more,
the reason why is because it is important to understand that. Okay, because if you don't understand that and you do dismiss it, then you're dismissing the truth, because this is how you're going to find the truth. I'll tell you how to find the truth about everything. The definitions. It's always in the original etymology for where things come from. Absolutely.
They can change those. The whole English language is a line language.
You can change things all you want. Etymology is etymology. It doesn't change. The original place where the words came from. You want to know what a politician is really up to? If you want to be able to decipher that when your prime minister is telling you to support, let me finish. If your prime minister is telling you to support foreign fighters, and you think it's the Canadian military, but he's telling you to go support ISIS, if you want to know how to define that, then you need to listen to the language and define what it means for his realm in our reality. There are many realms in our reality. That's why medical books have their own version of English. That's why that's why you need a lawyer when you go to court. And I'm living proof of that. If my grandmother never taught me when I was a little kid that there are two uses for every language on earth, one that governs the people and one that the people use, I never would have been able to defend myself against all those charges. Ever.
But to me, the idea of Christianity, or what we're supposed to do as followers of Yeshua, is to give it up to him and to not wield our powers as if we were, to not play the game. And to me, secrets is a game. It's a currency.
Well, and that's the thing, right? He himself was a Gnostic. He was an Essien, but people don't know that because things have been construed to you a certain way. So, like I said, what defines a character? Actions.
Yeah.
So when he says, follow me, follow what he did, not what other people tell you about him. Follow what he did. That's it. It's that simple.
Sure.
A lot to think about, right? I just want to, if I go against the things that I own, I personally believe in myself, which I don't really disclose too much, only sometimes, I'll do it on purpose just to pop that bubble, because that bubble exists. We need to pop that bubble, because the moment you pop that bubble, you will empower Christ in you.
Okay, I'm gonna try pop your bubble again.
Don't fall into the trap of Christ consciousness and New Age spirituality. Satan has sent out a very sneaky wave of deception to people that are new Christians and people that are vulnerable. He has found a way to rope the vulnerable of society into Satan worship that they don't even realize. He has taken inversions of scriptures and wrapped them up with nice paper and stuck a bow on top and handed it to unexpecting people. Christ consciousness teaches that we all have the same capabilities as God and that we just need to activate them, and that Jesus was just somebody that discovered his divinity. We're told multiple times in the Bible that we're created in his image. We are not God. We do not have the same capabilities as God. Jesus was not some random guy who discovered his own divinity. Jesus is God. He was the human version of God. And yes, we can be absolutely sure that these teachings are in fact demonic. In Genesis 3:5, when Satan tempts Eve, he literally says, "For God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." So we see this theme of Satan trying to convince people that they are God or that they can be like God. And this ideology is exactly why Satan fell. This is exactly why the fallen angels fell. well. This is exactly what Satanists do. In John 14:6, it says, Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So there's this concept of Jesus like wanting you to discover your own divinity. He very clearly says throughout the Bible, he is the way to God. In Isaiah 45, it says, I am the Lord and there is no other. Besides me, there is no God. I equip you, though you do not know me, that people may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is none besides me. I am the Lord and there is no other. I don't say any of this to judge because I used to be into the New Age stuff before I came around and read the Bible. I just don't want to see people playing with their souls based on what they see online or what their friends are doing or what they think is trendy. Like, this stuff is not something to be played with. Please put all of the New Age stuff down and pick up a Bible instead.
Few things. Few things. So, okay. So number one, to each their own. And I want to make it very clear, whatever her position is, or your position, or whatever, that's yours to have.
Everyone's entitled to their own belief, sister.
That's exactly right.
That's come on here
and I want to make that very clear. But but also, okay, I want to say this: who were his disciples? They were murderers, thieves. That's who he brought closest to him. Okay. And what did he preach on Sermon on the Mount? And who did he preach it to? Everybody. There was all walks of life. There were Greeks. There were monks. There were Jewish people. There were all 5,000 of mixed people there. Okay. And what did he teach in that sermon itself? Love your neighbor. Love each other. That's it. That's all. People can, it was the creation of interpretation that caused all these divisions in the first place. And Satan, the original word for Satan, shaitan, means to deceive and to be deceived. It means both. It depends in the context you use it, right? And you can change the meaning of a sentence by simply changing the two-letter word is. Did you know that the two-letter word is in Canadian law has 12 different meanings depending on the context and circumstances of the sentence it's applied in? These things are important, and this is why definitions are important. And this is why, if you want to follow Christ, you need to look at the character and not the way he's presented in different interpretations. Look at what he did, not what they say he did. Not how they say how he was. Look at what he did.
I agree that people should read the Bible for themselves and they should pray and fill themselves.
Read it all. Read the Quran too. Read it all.
Allow that interpretation. I told my listeners before about the teaching of Rhema and the Word of God and your hair will stand up. What resonates with you when you read the Bible? Like, pray to have God interpret it for you. Read it for yourself. And that's what I recommend. And you're right, sister. Everyone is entitled to their own beliefs.
Well, think about it this way. For years, how many women were killed around the world under Cotton Mathers as witches because they were healing the pain of childbirth, keeping women alive while they birthed their babies, and making the sick not be sick anymore. You have to understand
if you can't do
people
terrible
manipulate
shit in God's
it.
name, then that's the cool way of doing it. Everybody commits atrocities in God's name. That's nothing new. It don't really matter. But anyways, I appreciate that you come on the show tonight. We're gonna wrap it up here. It was a really good live, 2 hours long. Hey, man, we went deep and we covered lots. So
yeah, I appreciate you having me, buddy. And we do disagree on a lot of things, but I love you nonetheless, and I'm proud that you're here. And I'll fight this with you right through to the end.
I'm gonna hold you to this Kenneth O'Keefe interview. Can I stream it on StreamYard? Can I?
Hell yeah! Let's put it everywhere, and everybody out there. When I do get the date back from Kenneth, and we announce it to you guys, and we start advertising, we would appreciate you spread it like wildfire.
Okay, I'm gonna hold it to you, sister. God bless. Have a good night.
You guys.
The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion.